It's 100% life. That's where we are. So what's going to happen is this cell is going to divide in half, and each of those cells are going to divide in half. And then they're going to divide in half. And as they divide and redivide and divide again, they form the very first cell, the very first organ of the human body. That first organ is a primitive brain. A little time passes after the brain is formed, it begins sending out long, slender projections. These projections divide and redivide. I'm going real fast here because I figure you guys all lived through embryology. These divide and redivide and divide again and form these long projections. These are nerves. Oh, wow. At the end of each one of those nerve tissues, those nervous endings, occur small things that are called organelles, or buds. These buds are going to be future glands, organs, and tissues. For example, this bud might become an arm and a hand. This might become the liver. This will become a foot and a leg for obvious reasons. This might become the heart. And this one an arm and a hand. Until finally at full term, 9 months, there is produced an entire, complete human being. A living, breathing little baby. This baby was produced by 100% life generated by this brain tissue flowing over this nervous system. That's what creates new human beings. Now, when these buds are producing all these various glands, organs, and tissues in your body, they're also producing a series of 24 little rectangular bones that travel down the middle part of your spine. These are the spinal bones, they're vertebrae. These vertebrae surround or encase these nerves, and these other nerves pass between these bones. Let's stop and take a look at the spine. This particular spine, segment of the spine comes from the lower spine, 4 segments, 1, 2, 3, 4 vertebrae. In between the little rubbery discs, and the nerves, and the spinal cord. You all know what this is. Now, let's see what happens if we misalign these bones. Stick your pinky in there. Pinky. Wait, you stupid? Ouch! What do you say? Ooh, that hurt. Bone moves out of place, pinches on a nerve. Now what would happen if we left your pinky in there for a week, or a month, or a year? At first it would get all swollen and inflamed. Later on it would actually begin to atrophy, wither, and die. In either case, it certainly wouldn't work right. It wouldn't carry 100% life from the brain. Well, let's say that this nerve goes to your heart. Just use the heart as an example. Doesn't matter what we use. 100% life generated by the brain flowing over the nervous system. Stopped by a vertebral subluxation right here. The heart, instead of getting 100% life, is only getting 90% life. If I would ask this person, how do you feel? You'd say, I feel pretty good, right, Mrs. Smith? I go to the gym every day, I eat right, I exercise, I got great mental attitude, I feel great. But Mr. Smith is already diseased. He just doesn't know it. Because he foolishly judges his health by how he feels. Judging your health by how you feel is kind of like falling off the Empire State Building. And as you pass each row of windows saying, okay so far, well, what's going to happen? Eventually you're going to splatter on the sidewalk, right? And then you're not so okay. But Mr. Smith feels fine. The fact is that only 30% of the people with bones out of place in their spine have any local pain. The other 70% walk around with subluxations, they don't even know it. You like those numbers? You know where I got them? Pulled them out. I knew how he'd love it. It doesn't matter. The point is, quite often, there is no local pain. The more chronic it becomes, the less painful it becomes. It's only painful when it's acute, right? Vertebral subluxation stays here. Weeks, months, and years go by. We're trying to create the concept of process. People don't just get sick. People don't just die. It's a process. They don't get well. It's a process. Trying to create this process concept. This is going to stand us in good stead if we can do this with that patient over time. Patient feels fine. Subluxation stays here. Months, years, and days go by. Eventually, this 90% life becomes 70% life. Now, when you came into this room, you noticed this light was working just fine, didn't you? But let's say some of that life force that's coming from the electricity in the wall up to that light is diminished a bit. Now, if you came in right now and they said, "Is that light working?" You'd say, "Yeah, it's working." You have no idea whether it's working well or not. Well, if you went to your doctor at that point and you asked him, "Is everything working?" He'd say, "Yeah, it seems to be working." Unfortunately, only 70% of life force is getting through to your heart. Just nobody knows it because you never got your spine checked, did you? You just went to the doctor. And he's looking at this. Well, subluxation remains there and eventually it becomes 50% life. Now these are arbitrary figures just for explanation. There's no way to measure this in percentages. We're just trying to explain a concept here. But when 50% of the life is getting through to, let's say, your heart, you create a situation in which the tissue begins to break down. You become more and more diseased. And you begin to, as you turn off the life, you get the opposite of life, die inside. When enough tissues die, you get that thing that everybody's so concerned about. But that's the last thing in the process.